Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's Burning Clay, and finally I am back after a long hiatus with another Digimon TCG deck profile video. Now, we're going to jump ahead a couple of sets today, and I'm going to go ahead and do a BT10 Gammamon deck profile video. I know, again, BT10 here in the States in North America isn't going to be released for a while, but this is a deck that I'm actually really excited about after kind of noticing the pieces that will be coming out in BT10 that will finally complete this deck. So I did want to go ahead and get on it and, see what you guys think, because this is definitely a deck that I think I will have some fun with once BT10 comes out. But enough rambling from that. I do that enough as it is. Let's go ahead and get into this deck profile. First up, as always, we are going to look at our Digitama, and we are going to be running 4 copies of Gurrimon. Now, Gurrimon is a Digitama that actually came out in BT8, and it has the inheritable ability of when attacking once per turn, if this Digimon has 6,000 DP or more, you draw 1. Now, everything that we get into that is level 4 and higher will have 6,000 DP or more, so it'll be easy to trigger this ability and get that extra card draw, so it fits really nicely in with this deck. Next, we're going to move into our level 3s, and the first card that we're going to be looking at is 2 copies of Gammamon, the promo version. Now, this is a expensive card as far as a level 3 to play. It is a 4 cost to hard play, and it does cost 1 to digivolve on top of our Digitama, but it does come with a nice native ability of on your turn. As long as you have a red Tamer in play, this Digimon can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. It's just mainly there because it is a nice card to kind of give us some early aggression, make sure that we can target our opponent's lower level Digimon, because as a level 3 being 4,000, it is quite strong and we can easily get over the top of our opponent's lower level Digimon, kind of stunning their ability to get anything going and forcing them to kind of keep things in the raising area for a little bit. So some nice early game aggression with this card. Next up, we're going to be looking at 4 copies of Gammamon. Now, this is the Gammamon that came out in BT8. It is your typical 3 to hard play, 0 to digivolve. It has a native ability of on your turn once per turn. When you play a red Tamer, you get to draw 1. And then it has the inheritable ability of when attacking, if this Digimon has 6,000 DP or more, you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3,000 DP or less. So like I mentioned with Gurrimon, anything that is level 4 or higher in this deck is going to have over 6,000 DP, so we're going to be able to get that inheritable off. And then if we have him on the field, having that chance for a little bit of extra consistency with some card draw if we play a Tamer is nice, just to kind of make sure that we have the pieces that we want to make our plays. Moving on, if you thought we were going to be running another version of Gammamon, you are absolutely correct, as we run 4 copies of another promo version of Gammamon. Now, this Gammamon has an inheritable ability of on your turn. While you have a hero in play, this Digimon gains plus 2,000 DP. So this is just a nice way for us to DP boost our Digimon as we go up in levels, and just hopefully able to get our Digimon power levels above our opponents to kind of, keep the advantage on our side. And last but not least, we are looking at another 4 copies of Gammamon, and once again we are looking at another promo of Gammamon. Now, this one is a 0 to digivolve but a 4 to hard play, so if we need to hard play it, it is kind of expensive for a level 3, but it does have a nice on play ability to allow you to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 2,000 DP or less. I don't know how often we are actually going to be able to use that, but it is there if you want. Now, it also has the inheritable ability of when attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 2,000 DP or less. So whether it's on the hard play or whether it's as an inheritable ability, we always have the chance with this Digimon to be able to delete a lower level Digimon from our opponent's side. The main targets that I would see with this are those cards that are coming out that they don't ever really attack, they just kind of sit on the field and boost the other Digimon and help them out. So that's the main reason why I think this card would be strong in this deck. You could switch it up with the first promo that we talked about, where you're able to attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. You could make that the 4 and this the 2, but it just kind of depends on what you think your playstyle is going to be. Now we're going to move into our level 4s, and up first we are looking at 3 copies of BT10 and Gammamon. Now, this is a 5 to hard play and a 2 to digivolve, but it has the native ability of when digivolving it gains blitz, so if you do go over that onto your opponent's side of the memory counter, you're able to still attack. This would be a nice play if you only have 0 or 1 memory to kind of choke your opponent and then still be able to get an attack off. Next up, we are going to look at 3 copies of Gammamon, and I'm sure that I am butchering that name, but that's what we're going to go with for the video. Just like the BT10 Gammamon, it is 5 to hard play, 2 to digivolve, but it also allows you to digivolve for 2 on top of a Gammamon, so the fact that it is a blue card doesn't matter. This one also has the nice native ability of on your turn it cannot be blocked. These cards that we're showing so far, as you'll see as we go through our level 4s, don't have the inheritables, but we're not worried about that because of cards that we'll play later on. Next, we're going to be looking at 3 copies of BT10 and Gammamon, and because this is a green card, normally you would be like, oh, this doesn't fit, but just like our previous card, we can digivolve for 2 on top of Gammamon, so again, the color doesn't matter, but having green on the field allows us to access that nice green trait of piercing, so we can actually attack our opponent's Digimon and then still get a security check off. Last but not least, we are going to finish off our level 4s with 3 copies of Gammamon. Now, it is a little more expensive to play than our other level 4s as a 6 to hard play and 3 to digivolve, but that's if we were going with a purple deck. The fact is that just like our others, it can digivolve for 2 on top of a Gammamon with no issues, and then it has the native ability of on all turns, as long as we have a card with Gammamon in its name as a Digivolution source of this Digimon, it gains retaliation. And then on deletion, we can play a Gammamon from our trash suspended without paying its memory cost. This is nice because it allows us to be really aggressive as far as who we're attacking, being able to get bodies off the board from our opponents as far as they're really strong Digimon, and then if it is deleted, then it allows us to just basically replace it with another Gammamon, which we can easily digivolve into any of our level 4s for super cheap. So it's just a nice aggression play on our part. So let's move on to our level 5s, and we are going to run 4 copies of Gammamon. Now, I'm sure I am butchering that name. Now, when you look at it, it does look like a super expensive card to play. 8 to hard play, 4 to digivolve on top of a level 4. But with this deck, we're actually going to get a break because it digivolves for 3 on top of a level 4 if it has a name that contains Gammamon, which all of our level 4s do. Now we're going to look at our native abilities, and it has an on your turn once per turn. When one of your Tamers becomes suspended, this Digimon gets an extra 2k DP. Then, if it goes over 12k, it gains security attack +1 for the turn. Also, on all turns, this Digimon gains all of the effects of the cards in its Digivolution sources with Gammamon in their name. So, what we're looking at here is the fact that none of our level 4s had any inheritable abilities. So how are we going to make our level 5 stronger? As long as we have Gammamon in there, it doesn't matter because then we can go back and use their effects. So that would include Blitz, it includes Piercing, it includes not being able to be blocked, and it also includes Retaliation. Where it gets really fun is some other cards in the deck, and this card's inheritable ability, which also allows you to, on all turns, gain all of the effects of cards in this Digimon's Digivolution sources with Gammamon in their name. So not only if we move up higher into a level 6, do all those things stay the same, but if we stay here as a level 5, we can use all of those tricks as well. Now, we also have to talk about its native ability of looking for that 12k for the extra security attack +1. because it's already sitting at 8K. As long as we suspend a Tamer, we get an additional 2K. So we're looking at 10K right there. So we just need somewhere along the lines to be able to get an additional 2K DP boost. And we do have ways to make that happen, whether it's inheritable sources or our Tamers as well. So being able to hit that 12K DP mark and getting that extra security attack +1 is very possible with this deck. Now we're going to move on to our other level 5, and of course I'm going to bring out Gammamon. We are going to be running 3 copies of Gammamon in this deck. Now, with Gammamon, you have the DNA Digivolution option that allows you to DNA Digivolve for 0 as long as you have 2 level 4s, regardless of color. Then it has the nice ability of when digivolving, you can place a level 5 or lower Digimon card from your trash under this Digimon as its bottom Digivolution card, and then up to 4 of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 1000 DP for each of this Digimon's colors until the end of your opponent's next turn. Then on your turn, this Digimon is treated as also having the colors of its Digivolution cards. So while this Digimon has 4 or more colors, it gets plus 4000 DP. We have a good chance of this being able to get to our 4 colors, because say if we have our Weezing Gammamon and a Gullus Gammamon, that right there is purple and green. You're also going to have red naturally, and then you have Gammamon, which is your 4th as a white card, so there you have your 4 colors, and then you could be looking at Gammamon being a 12K DP level 5. Where it gets really fun is when we go back to its Digivolution effect. It allows you to play a level 5 from your trash. So if you have a Gammamon in your trash, you could then put it underneath Gammamon as its bottom Digivolution source. And what was the inheritable ability that we talked about with Gammamon? Yes, all Gammamon cards that are in the Digivolution source, this card gets the effects of. So we could have a 12K DP Gammamon that has retaliation, piercing, potentially unblockable, maybe even blitz. Blitz wouldn't be as big of a deal for Gammamon as long as we're DNA Digivolving, because we can do it for free. But it would still be nice as long as we're moving up into our level 6s to be able to keep that, because we'll still have Gammamon as an inheritable source that could then give it to our level 6. But these 2 level 5s, I think, are very unique in what give this deck its really fun aspect to be able to play, of being able to kind of combine the different effects that the different level 4s have, and then still be able to go and be strong enough as it is, because like I said, they're both already 8K. You have a really good chance of Gammamon being able to get to 12K, which puts him on par with level 6s, and then the same for Gammamon, 8K with potential DP boost to be able to get him up into the same stratosphere as our level 6s, and both of them only being level 5s. The different inheritables, they would already be really problematic for a lot of decks, in my opinion, to be able to deal with. But even with that being the case, I still wanted to include some level 6s just to be able to kind of give us something else to go into and try to kind of have those boss monsters in play. With these, there's not like a natural level 6 for this, so I just tried to find some level 6s that I feel like could take advantage of what the deck's trying to do as far as some of the inheritable sources that we would be able to give, and try to kind of find some unique things. And then honestly, I was also trying to find some cards that I feel like don't get played a ton. So one of the ones that I had was Shine Greymon from back in BT4. This is the red version that can also digivolve on top of a yellow if you want to. but we're not running any yellow in this deck. It has the ability of, on your turn, when one of your red or yellow tamers is suspended, this gains security attack +1. So as you go, we do have some ways that we'll want to suspend our tamers. So this is just another way for us to be able to get some additional security attacks. And then at the same time, you're looking at potential things like piercing and being unblockable, to where we could just do, straight attacks and not have to really worry about anything, or being able to take out an opponent's Digimon and, still being able to get our security checks off. And another nice thing about this card is it's only a 3 cost to Digivolve into, so it's really cheap to be able to get into our level 6s, and we could potentially be looking at some, additional security attacks with it. Now, I also wanted to include 2 copies of Marsmon from BT8. This was a card that I actually had somebody comment on for one of my Tyrannomon videos as a potential card to throw in with that deck. And it's been sticking in my mind, and I was like, this would be a really good card to throw into here, because it has the nice native ability to be able to just naturally attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. It is 11k, so it's not like a super strong level 6, but just like our Shine Greymon, we can get into it for really cheap because it's only a 3 cost. At 11k, like I said, it's not like strong for what you see a lot of the more powerful level 6s. But it can attack unsuspended Digimon, so at that point, we're not really necessarily worried about trying to take on our opponent's level 6s as much as just kind of wiping a weaker Digimon off the board. And then again, we go back into some of our inheritable traits that we can get thanks to Kanowismon in our level 4s, and being able to kind of like get around some of our opponent's plays that they might be trying to make. So could you probably find some better level 6s? Yeah, I don't really know if you necessarily need the level 6s in this deck with how strong that you could make your level 5s. But they're still nice to have just for the abilities that they have, and I feel like they could take advantage of the level 4 abilities as well if we needed them to. Now we're going to get into our option cards, and we're going to be looking at 3 copies of Breeclaw. Now this is a card that is going to be coming out in BT10, and it's only a 1 cost to play, which is really nice. Now, it has the main ability of one of your Digimon gets plus 2000 DP for the turn, and then by placing 1 Digimon card with Gammamon in its name from your hand to the bottom of one of your Digivolution cards, you can then draw 1 card. And then it has security that you can play a Gammamon from your hand or trash without paying its cost. So if it is in security, you're still going to be able to get a free play off of it, but being able to play it out of your hand is really nice, because this is a way that we could get our Kanowismon up to that 12k DP level that we were looking for. And then at the same time, we can then put a card underneath him as a Digivolution source that we could use a trait from to make him more powerful. This would also be another nice way of being able to kind of get an extra color under our Chimeramon if we wanted to. Just by making our Chimeramon stronger, give it 2000 DP, make it a 10k natively, and then if we throw an additional color underneath it as a Digivolution source, if it didn't already have its 4 colors necessary, we could get it there, and then you're talking another 4k on top of it, so it's 14k, and then you just have all the other shenanigans that you could come off with it as well, which is really nice. So I do think this is a nice option card that needs to be included in the deck one way or another. Now I noticed when I was putting the deck together, obviously you have like chances for multiple security attacks, and one thing that always worries me when you have cards that get the multiple security attacks is hitting something in security that kind of shuts everything down for cheap. So I wanted to make sure to include 2 copies of A Delicate Plan, which is just a 1-cost option. And if you didn't know, this card came out way back in BT3, but it does have the main ability that one of your Digimon gains. This Digimon doesn't activate the security effects of any option cards it checks for the turn. So you don't have to worry about running into those Wyron's Breath or Gaia Forces or anything like that would normally shut your plays down. It doesn't protect you from the battles in security from Digimon to Digimon, so you do have to be careful of that, but being able to kind of swing in and not necessarily be worried about hitting any option cards to shut you down is a nice thing to have, in my opinion. And the fact that it's only a 1 cost to play makes it super cheap, so it's easy to get this card off. The last option card that I wanted to include was a single copy of the Attack Plugin A. It is a card that came out in EX2. It is only a 2 cost to play, and as long as you have a Tamer card in play, you can use this option card without meeting its color requirements, but we are going to have plenty of red in our deck to be able to get this off. But if we do have, a couple of level 4s without anything else out on the field, it's always nice to be able to use this with a Tamer. It has the main ability that one of your Digimon gains security attack +1 for the turn, and then in security, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, you add 1 Tamer card from it to your hand and place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then you add this card to your hand. So this allows you to be able to pull the Tamer that you would need if you weren't able to meet the color requirements to be able to play and then be free to use this card if necessary. Just being able to add this onto a Shine Greymon or to Arcano Wismon to give it a security attack +2 is nice. And being that it's only a 2 cost to play, it's not something that is going to be hard as long as we have, our memory setter out on the field. We should be able to throw this in pretty easy and get away with it. It is only 1 copy of the card, so it's probably something that you want to hold on to until the end of the game when you're really trying to go for game, but it's a nice card to be included. Now we're going to move on to our Tamers, and we are running 3 copies of Hero from BT8, and this is going to be our memory setting Tamer, making sure that we're always starting at 3. It also has the ability of, on our turn, when we attack with a Digimon that has Gammamon in its name or is level 4 or level 5 or higher, you can suspend this Tamer to have one of your Digimon get plus 2000 DP for the turn. So this is a card that will really work well with our Arcano Wismon because we can suspend it to give Arcano Wismon that 2000 DP, and then Arcano Wismon gets 2000 DP from suspending the Tamer, which is 4000 DP, which gets it to that 12k mark that we're looking for the security attack +1. It has the security effect as well as all of our Tamers to be able to play this card without paying its memory cost. So this is just a nice card to have to kind of give us that extra boost. What's nice is that it does not have to be a red Digimon. So as long as we are level 5 or higher, we can swing and we can go at it with an extra 2k DP. So this could give, like I said, Arcano Wismon that 12k that we're looking for. If we're looking at our Chimeramon, we've already mentioned how we could potentially get him up to 14k DP. Doing a swing here on top of that could get 16k. So we're, talking about level 7 territory at that point. This is also nice for our level 6s because they are slightly weaker at just 11k to then be able to kind of get up into that 13k DP range, which generally means that you're going to be safe for the most part when it comes to a security attack. So a very nice card that we want to include, not only for the fact that it sets our memory, but because it allows us to do so many other things that this deck is trying to do. And last but not least, we are going to be looking at 3 copies of the promo version of Hero. Now this allows you on your turn, when you attack with a Digimon that has Gammamon in its Digivolution sources, you can suspend this Tamer to then gain security attack +1 for the turn. So this is one that we can really partner well with our other hero, or just to give ourselves the additional security attack, because we are easily going to be able to have Gammamon in a Digivolution source with the way that this deck is constructed. But again, we're looking at some of the plays that we can make. We've already mentioned Chimeramon being 16k DP. You can then turn around here and have security attack +1 on top of it. If we go with our Kenowismon, play it with the other hero, suspend it, we get our 12k is security attack +1. Throw this card on there, security attack +2. Have our plug-in for security attack +3. Same thing if we're looking at our Shine Greymon that natively comes, we suspend a Tamer, we get security attack +1. If it's this Tamer, then it's security attack +2. You have plug-in, it's security attack +3. So it just goes on and on. So it's just a nice synergy with the rest of the deck and what we're trying to do. So that's going to do it for this deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it. I know we're jumping ahead a little bit with BT10 here, but when I realized that this deck could be put together in the way that it can be put together, it was just something I was so excited about that I had to go ahead and put together a deck profile on it so I could talk about it a little bit. I also want to apologize for the delay between videos. I recently bought a house, moved into it, and the whole process took a little bit longer than expected to kind of get everything up and running with the house. So I do apologize for that. So thank you for being patient with me. I am looking to start being able to have a little bit more time to where I can put these videos together again. Probably dive a little bit more into our BT9 as well as our EX2 that just came out. So really looking forward to that. But again, just wanted to have a little bit fun with Gammamon. Feel free to get down in the comment section below. Tell me how I've butchered these names. I know I've done that in the past on some other videos where I've messed up the pronunciation. See, I can't even talk. The pronunciation of names. So please continue to do that so I can actually say these names correctly and stop making myself look like a fool. But also let me know what you think as far as what you think of this deck profile. I do think this deck would be really fun to play with. I don't know if it would necessarily be anything that would be super competitive, but it is something that I want to put together and play around with, maybe take it to some locals, because it does look like a fun deck to play. But again, I'm starting to ramble a little bit. That's too much of me talking, not enough of the video action. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to kind of getting back in the groove of this. And until then, we'll see you in the next video.